It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Catalfamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Catalfamo. Thank you for joining me. On today's show, we're talking Flagstaff Unified School District, and my guest in studio today is Director of Communications and Public Relations for the district, Zachery Fountain. Zach, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So, the holidays are over. Everybody's back in school. How's the second half of the school year going for you at the district?
You know, it's going great. We're off and running. We've got a lot of great things that are happening in our district. You know, there's a real good energy about 2020, and so we're off and moving. Students are back in classrooms. It's been 2 weeks, so students are learning, and we're already looking towards the end of the year and working hard on that stuff.
So what are some of the things that are going on around the district?
Yeah, so we have a lot that's going on. This last fall, we adopted our new strategic plan, and so we've been rolling that out to the schools, working with families. That's been part of a broader stakeholder process. So we've had meetings at every single school site over the last 2 months. We're finishing those up in the next week and a half. And what we're trying to do is get families to really buy in terms of, you know, what do they want to see in terms of education for their school environment. So we're having really deep conversations about, okay, what does a classroom look like for a modern learner? What does a facility look like in terms of upgrades, or what are the expectations? And then really, you know, a school district is a really big organization, right? You've got your classrooms, you've got your finance department, you've got all these different groups that are working together, and they all have their plans. So what we're trying to do is dovetail and streamline what do all those plans look like, and how do they all fit together so that we can do more long-range planning. And
you guys are looking towards the future in several ways. One of them is something that we'll touch upon in the next segment. Yep. But for now, an anonymous reporting tool is something that you guys have put into place technically last year, but last month.
Yeah.
So tell me about the anonymous reporting tool.
Yeah, so anonymous reporting tool is something that we've been working on for a year. It really started out with working with students, and the conversation was, yeah, we know that things are happening, but there's some of those social stigmas that are associated with you know, being in high school or being in school in general, and wanting to share information and get help, but not bring on the social stigma that may be assigned with that.
Right.
And so what we've done is we've shared an anonymous alerts tool. This allows our students, families, members of the community, what they can do is they can pick the school, they can send information, and they get in contact with the administrator that we have designated during these specific times. And then they're actually able to communicate back and forth. They have the option to remain anonymous through that tool, or they can choose to not be anonymous. What's really been helpful for our administrators is that, you know, so many of our lives and our students' lives are now digital, right? Mm-hmm. So like, nobody's passing the note in class anymore. They're, you know, sharing something on Snapchat. So right. A screenshot that is taken and then shared with an administrator can really help us in any number of ways, you know, in terms of mental health or potential safety issues. And so it's really allowed us to get ahead on some of the issues. That being said, the gravity of the things that we've seen so far have really been, you know, there's ice in the front of our facility. Right. You know, that's the first alert that we got, which was great. That, you know, that was something that they cared about. And so we were able to take care of that. We believe in being transparent and having a lot of information come in and address issues that people see.
Yeah, and we are in this weird period where, you know, going to school does have some very very unsettling possibilities, you know, with school shooters and the more heavy stuff. But it's nice to see that the anonymous tool is also used outside of that, because there are so many different things that go on in a classroom, that go on campus. Like you mentioned with the ice out in front. That's a safety issue. It's a good thing somebody said something, because you guys can jump on top of it. Somebody spills something, somebody breaks something. They can remain anonymous. It gets fixed. The problem gets handled. And I think it's a great tool to bring into a classroom or just into a school in general. It's perfect.
For sure. And then really the second part of the app is that we have community resources resources that are, supporting students and families across the board. And within the app, we have those numbers built in. We have the mental health lines, we have all those. So if families are really, in crisis and they need immediate conversations, they have that. That being said, if there's a safety issue, we're still encouraging people to call 911 immediately and follow up with public safety. This is about the stuff that doesn't follow up to that line. Well,
and safety, of course, is obviously number one priority in terms of schools. So having something like this is great. How did that idea, has something like this been introduced in other schools and other districts, or is this something that you guys have come up with?
Yeah, so you see a lot of different districts across the country that are coming up with this, and there's some different groups that do different things. And what we did is we spent some time just evaluating what would be the best tool to fit our district, and this is the one that fit the best.
Yeah, and it seems like it's, obviously, they saw the ice, they wanted to make a change, and then there you go. So you guys felt it was probably pretty important to start incorporating this into your district as well, and so you have.
Yeah, we have, and we believe safety is a priority, and so this is just one more tool that we want to make sure that's accessible to our students.
And it is accessible through an app, correct?
It's accessible through an app, but you download apps and they kind of sit on your page, right? Yeah. But we wanted to make sure that it's accessible multiple different ways. So we have QR codes throughout our schools. We actually formulated stickers and handed them out to students. We tried to get them on as many water bottles as possible, right? Yeah. And then we've also placed stickers in all of the bathrooms. That's kind of that place where there's some privacy and you can be able to do something, and so we wanted to make sure that we were really targeting students where the need was need.
And so they take a picture of that QR code, and what happens after that?
It takes you directly to the Anonymous Alerts website, and you're able to patch through and get your message out. Yeah,
no, that's great, and you make it accessible, like you said, you're putting it on water bottles. We had something like that when I was in middle school, where we had like this I think it was, I was in school before iPads and slightly before iPhones, but it was more of a website that you could go to, and if something was going on, you could type it up and send it off. But this seems like it's a lot more accessible, and it seems like it reaches a lot more people a lot quicker.
It does, and that's our priority. We just want to keep the tool out in front of people. We've got these really bright, obnoxious pink posters all across the campuses, and we'll continue to do that and refresh those materials so it's just kept top of mind for everybody.
Yeah, and like I said, you guys are, we'll touch upon the iPads here in a little bit, but you guys are really kind of changing in a lot of ways, changing and more updating to the modern sort of what we're starting to shift socially and shift as human beings to schools now, where it's more digital, it's more technology, information's got to come out quickly, it's got to be fast, and it's got to be bright and colorful, and people have to really pay attention to it. And I think it's great, and it starts, with what we're going to touch upon when we get to it, but it's also, implementing an anonymous tip tool. I hope other districts and other schools start implementing this, because it is not only a safety, it helps with safety, but also it does help with some of the smaller things.
Yeah, and really data is just changing things so fast. And really the more tools that we have, we can adapt to what the needs of learners are, we can adapt to safety issues, we can adapt to building maintenance issues, right? So right now we're doing a major upgrade across all our facilities where we're changing out every single light bulb as part of an energy program. And the real important thing that comes out of that is that the learning environment's going to change. It's going to be more a better opportunity for our students, but it's also that we're going to get instantaneous alerts to fix things that are in our facilities, and we're going to be able to adapt to that in real time. So we're adapting across the board with a digital transformation that we're really grateful that our community support has allowed us to do.
Well, Flagstaff Unified School District is starting to think a little more 2020 and into the future with their technology and other tools. And one of the tools that they're starting to implement is an iPad in the classroom. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean what you think it does, but we're going to talk about that when we come back on the other side of this break. Countywide will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Start your journey toward better health with Ageless Touches Massage Therapy. Licensed massage therapist Richard Stevens uses the latest and best equipment to relieve scar tissue, electronic smog, and tinnitus. Ageless Touches does everything they can to work your issues down to the bone. Improve your path to better health with Ageless Touches Massage.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Hi, this is Lori
and Melissa
from Sedona Soul Spaces. We are the premier source for all your interior design, decorating, and staging needs.
Every day people ask, why didn't I call you sooner?
Let us use our passion, creativity, and experience to make your life easier.
Don't make costly mistakes. Call us and we will help save you time and money.
We offer full-service interior design, custom furnishings,
complete home staging, turnkey vacation home packages.
Sedona Soul Spaces, creating extraordinary spaces that delight your soul.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Welcome back to Countywide. I'm Philip Catalfamo. My guest in studio today is Director of Communications and Public Relations for Flagstaff Unified School District, Zachery Fountain. We were just talking about the anonymous tip tool that Flagstaff Unified School District has implemented in their all throughout their district. And now, another thing that they're starting to lean into, or I should have a better segment for that, but it's iPads is what I'm getting to. You guys had a grant awarded to you that allowed you, and you can correct me on that, that allowed you to purchase these iPads for not everyone just yet, but you guys are starting to roll out all of these iPads into classrooms. And now I want to clarify, these aren't normal iPads. These are specifically geared towards learning.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the opportunity to share about our one-to-one program. We have, in 2018, our voters approved a bond, and part of that was about technology improvements throughout the district, and that was multifaceted, right? So there's security upgrades, there's Wi-Fi upgrades, there's one-to-one technology. And so what we've done over the last year is we've upgraded the Wi-Fi across all of our facilities to make sure that they could take the capacity of 9,600 iPads coming online. And then what we've done is also spent the time working with stakeholders and figuring out what devices would be best for our students in terms of a classroom environment. More and more content is being distributed digitally. Textbooks groups are actually moving more towards digital content, which allows for content to be upgraded. That one textbook that we had that still at the Soviet Union is not on the shelves and continuing to be on the shelves, right? And so what we've done is we've done a shift with the one-to-one iPads. The last 2 weeks have been a really big part of this endeavor. The iPads have been issued to Coconino High School. Sinawa Middle School finished up yesterday, and we're actually ahead of schedule and starting at Mount Eldon Middle School today. We're giving out iPads, issuing them to students like you would with a textbook. That means that they're allowed to take them home with them or have other arrangements made with the school if families want to keep them on site. This is a real, opportunity for our students in terms of access and equity. We've had iPads on our campus since 2012. They've all been in those big carts and that are checked out by period level. And there were some inequities in that, right? Mm-hmm. Like you can't start on a project and then go back to paper and vice versa. And so this is about enhancing the tools. It's not just about recreating what we had before digitally. So it's supposed to be about expanding the learning opportunities for students.
Now, you mentioned to me that this is going around through the entire state of Arizona. There are a couple schools that are doing this as well. Yeah. Where did you guys push pretty hard for this? Like you said, the voters signed the bond, or voted for the bond, excuse me, to give you guys the funding for this. So you guys just kind of taking the lead from other schools, or was this something that you thought, oh, this is a great idea, we need to get this into our district?
Yeah, so this was a part, we don't just flip the switch and decide to do something. Mary Knight and the IT team have done an amazing job of going through and being systematic in their research of this entire process, going from everything about how do you distribute it, how do you set up the accounts, how do you do all this, how do you maintain security, how do you think about student data rights, all of those types of things are considered. How do you distribute mid-year these types of devices? And so they've really gone through and researched that entire process. There's a lot of school districts in Maricopa County that have this. Nationally, large urban centers, you'll see these types of devices. And what we did is we took a stakeholder process. We went and we had Chromebooks, we had iPads, and we went through and we compared what was the better device for student learners. And then we did things like, okay, what happens if you pop a key? That was a big issue for a district, in terms of, replacement costs and those types of things. So like, we chose this keyboard because there's no actual keys that can be popped, right? There's some buffers that are on the outside in terms of, if you're dropping it, it happens, right?
Right, of course, yeah.
There's the reason I have my Otter box on my camera.
And
right?
I mean, this case is a steel box. I mean, it's pretty big.
Yeah, it's. I
feel like I could throw it across the room and the iPad would be perfectly fine.
We would ask that you don't do that.
I will not. I will not.
No, but we wanted to make sure that it was usable and had some functionality. Students did bring up that they were interested in keyboards. They didn't want just to be typing on the screen, and so we were able to flex that in. It can still separate, so if you're doing things like video projects or whatever, you can still have that separate. And then there's some ways in terms of how we identify these and make sure that they're assigned to the particular students. And then there's processes for returns if things are, left in a classroom or whatever, and where they can check that out.
So outside of the obvious, what is the difference between this bad boy and teaching from a textbook?
Yeah, so it's more dynamic learning. So you have your lesson plans and everything like that have started to be built digitally, but let's talk about it in terms of the perspective of the teacher, right? The classrooms are changing. You might have a presentation that's up on the front, and then you want to be able to pull them into a particular assignment. So we use an app called Canva where they can actually build out a lesson plan within this. So it would be, okay, we're going to talk about these slides about the French Revolution. We're going to talk a little bit about the history, and then there's going to be an actual built-in activity, and there's live data about, okay, what do we think the answers are, where are they? But on the teacher side, they actually get to see where are the students that are struggling on that particular lesson, and it's not anything that calls them out, but it allows them to plan and move to make sure that something's not lost. We want to make sure that there's not that compounding effect through lessons where students just get farther and farther behind. This is the first time our teachers are going to have real-world data where they can adapt on the fly. And we've done the trainings with our teachers to make sure that they understand what those tools and resources mean.
Now, this is an iPad produced by Apple, but some of the programs and stuff have been chosen by you guys these are tools for learning. There is no App Store on here. There is no iTunes. You cannot put apps on here. You can't put movies on here. This is strictly for learning.
Yeah, and we have a committee that comes together, and our teachers are actually going to be able to submit requests for different types of apps and things that they're seeing. They're always investigating what's the best way to improve learning opportunities for our students. If they find something, we want them to bring it forward. We can review it, make sure it aligns to state standards, and then at that point, if it's good to go, we can, with a flip of a button, right, push it out to all of the iPads. You don't have that massive distribution issues that you had for 9,600 students across 17 sites.
And as somebody who, I have to usually wear glasses because I'm farsighted, I can't see distance, or nearsighted, I always get them mixed up. But anyway, this for me, as somebody who would be in that classroom who has problems with distance, this is perfect because it's right in front of me. And I can follow along a lot easier. You showed me some of there's VR, there's so many features on here, we do not have time to go through all of them, but there's so many great features on here. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to keep talking about this iPad that was out of frame. When we come back, don't go anywhere. Kenny, we'll be right back.
Breakthrough Medicine's Dr. Shada Sina offers comprehensive hormone testing and customized hormone therapy with a focus on lifestyle medicine, weight loss, allergy drops, brain and digestive health, seasonal detox, and nutrition. Dr. Sina is a referral physician for Suzanne Summers, specializing in bioidentical hormones for men and women. Breakthrough Medicine is located in Cottonwood's Hot Yoga Plaza. Call for a 15-minute complimentary new patient consultation, 928-649-0269, or visit online at breakthrough-medicine.com.
From inspiration to installation.
If you need help with your decorating plan, call the pros at the Picture Window. We are your #1 source for top quality blinds, shades, shutters, and flooring. We've been in business here for 41 years, and our delightful sales staff has decades of experience. We're the locally awarded Best of the Best in both Sedona and the Verde Valley.
Don't pass up a free estimate on your project. Call the Picture Window now.
Paul Stanley here with Stanley Steel Structures. We offer shade structures that provide style, value, and performance. Our Equinox louvered roof opens and closes to give you the ultimate patio experience. We also offer Alumawood shade covers that looks like wood but lasts like steel and never needs painting or maintenance. Visit us at StanleySteelStructures.com. Contact us today and be covered tomorrow. Stanley Steel Structures. Let us add some space to your place.
Feng Shui artistry, the oldest form of development planning, today known as the art of placement. For 26 years, master Feng Shui educator, practitioner, artist, and author Caroline Patrick Bournet has used ancient rules of environmental, physical, and spiritual harmony to support clients' health, knowledge, creativity, and success. In mapping your home, you'll understand yourself. Better living is the gift of a lifetime. Change your life one room at a time. Schedule your Home Therapy 101 consultation today.
Welcome back to Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Catalfamo. I'd like to thank you for joining us. On today's show, we're talking Flagstaff Unified School District, and my guest in studio is Director of Communications and Public Relations for that district, Zachery Fountain. Zach, we were talking about the anonymous tip tool that you guys have implemented last month, aka I guess last year. And then also for this year, you guys have rolled out finally the iPads, these educational iPads, I want to make that very clear, that have all the functionality of a textbook and more, again, focused more towards education. It's essentially, like you said, it's essentially a textbook. It's a basic iPad. It comes with a detachable keyboard. The keys, like you said, are nice and flat, so they won't pop out. And it's got a whole bunch of apps. Of course, there's no iTunes, there's no iMusic, whatever. But there is a $25 rental fee, loan fee that you do have to pay to use it, but that fee does cover a lot.
Yeah, so we do have a $25 fee that's associated with the usage of that, and that's comparable with other districts that have done this. It's pretty low in terms of the scale, but the reason for that is to cover the cost of repairs. We have these types of things for different resources across our district, as do all districts, in terms of the added value with some particular educational items, and it's really aimed at acting as an insurance policy in terms of replacement and repair, and we've structured things so that we can quickly replace and repair these types of items, not to the detriment of the student's education. So we want it to be quickly dealt with, and that's the structure in which we can finance that.
Now, for those parents and guardians who cannot pay the $25 fees maybe right away, you do offer a scholarship for those parents?
What we do is we ask for our parents to actually have a conversation with the school administration, and the administration has the ability to work with families in terms of what would be best for their needs.
Now, how about those parents who just do not want their son or daughter to have an iPad in the house? They don't want the responsibility, they don't want if something breaks, even if they know about the $25 fee, just do not want it. Maybe they're against technology, I have no idea. But what happens with those kids who don't have the access to these as others may do?
Yeah, so there were two questions in there, and the first one was about parents not wanting their kids to take it home or off-site, right?
Right.
We're working with parents who have those questions. Right now, it's very limited in terms of the number of parents that want that, but we have set up a separate room in terms of a place to check it in at the end of the day, pick it up in the morning, and make sure that it's charged overnight. The second part of the question about parents in terms of access to their education, we're going to work with families, whatever they want to do, to make sure that they can get the education that they need. There are going to be some differences, turning in written reports or using
you can turn
books
stuff in here.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
But the thing in terms of the technology is we have had these devices in our district since 2012, and we have had people adopting their technology user agreements. So there are still digital resources that are used at the school. We just want to make sure that we have very clear conversations with our families in terms of their expectations. That way we can meet their child's needs.
Well, Zach, I want to thank you for coming on. This is a fantastic new tool. It kind of makes me wish I was in high school, but then I think about it a little more and I'm glad I'm not. So this is great. The Anonymous Tip tool is also a great tool that you guys have implemented, and I can't wait to speak with you again about all the other stuff going on around the Flagstaff Unified School District. I know that the foundation has a partnership with Blues and Brews going on, which unfortunately we're not able to cover, but that is going on. So I want to thank my guest, Zachery Fountain, for coming in and talking about this. iPads in the Flagstaff Unified School District. For Countywide, I've been Philip Catalfamo. Have a great rest of your day.